This episode discusses the violent death of O'Shæ Sibley, including themes of hate crimes, homophobia, racism, and trauma. Some viewers may find the details distressing. Please watch with care. Our intention is to honor O'Shæ's life, shed light on the injustice he faced, and ensure his story is never forgotten. If you or someone you know has been affected by hate crimes or violence, resources are available in the description below. It was a hot, sticky Saturday night in late July. The kind of New York City evening that feels alive with possibility, where the air hums with the energy of a million different stories unfolding at once. For one group of friends, this night was about joy. It was about freedom. It was about the simple, pure pleasure of music and movement. But in a few horrifying moments, that night of joy would be stolen, twisted into an unforgettable act of hate. On July 29, 2023, in the Midwood neighborhood of Brooklyn, O'Shæ Sibley, a vibrant 28-year-old professional dancer and choreographer, was with his friends, filling up their car at a mobile gas station. To pass the time, they did what came most naturally to them: they danced. The soundtrack to their celebration was Beyoncé's Renaissance, an album that is more than just music. It's a cultural monument, a love letter to the Black and queer pioneers of dance and house music. As the powerful anthems of liberation and self-love filled the air, O'Shæ began to vogue, his body telling a story of pride and defiance. But their harmless expression of joy was met with a hostile glare. A group of young men approached them, not with curiosity, but with contempt. They demanded the music be turned off. They hurled homophobic slurs and racist insults, poisoning the night air with bigotry. O'Shæ, a man who lived his life out loud, refused to be silenced. He and his friends stood up for themselves, asserting their right to simply exist. The confrontation escalated with terrifying speed. In the midst of the argument, one of the aggressors pulled out a knife. In a flash of senseless violence, O'Shæ Sibley was viciously stabbed to death. This wasn't a random dispute. This wasn't just violence, it was a hate crime, executed with brutal finality. It was an attack on O'Shæ's identity as a black gay man. It was an attack on his freedom, his joy, and his very existence. The music stopped, the dancing ended, and a life full of promise was extinguished on the cold concrete of a gas station. The New York Police Department immediately launched an investigation, treating the case with the gravity it deserved. The city was on edge. Surveillance video from the gas station captured the horrific event, providing crucial evidence. The footage, though painful to watch, told a clear story of unprovoked aggression fueled by prejudice. For days, a citywide search was underway for the primary suspect. The community held its breath, demanding justice for O'Shæ. Then, on August 4th, a 17-year-old suspect surrendered to police. He was charged with second-degree murder as a hate crime and criminal possession of a weapon. The hate crime enhancement is a critical legal distinction. It officially recognizes that the perpetrator was motivated by bias against the victim's sexual orientation and race. It sends a message that society will not tolerate violence rooted in prejudice. The suspect, whose name was withheld due to his age, pleaded not guilty. The legal battle would be long, a painful process for O'Shæ's loved ones, forcing them to relive their trauma in a courtroom. But for the community, the arrest was a first, necessary step towards accountability. But who was the man whose life was so cruelly cut short? To understand the depth of this tragedy, we must understand the brilliance of the life that was lost. To his friends, family, and fellow artists, O'Shæ Sibley was never just a victim. He was a force of nature. He was light, movement, and boundless resilience. Born and raised in Philadelphia, he discovered his passion for dance at an early age. It was his language, his escape, and his calling. He honed his craft at the Philadelphia High School for Creative and Performing Arts, the same esteemed institution that nurtured talents like Boyz II Men and Leslie Odom Jr. He then moved to New York City, the epicenter of the dance world, to chase his dream with relentless determination. His talent was undeniable. O'Shæ earned a coveted spot as a member of the elite Philadelphia dance company, Philadanco. For over 50 years, Philadanco has been celebrated for preserving African-American traditions in dance and creating a space for black artists to thrive. Being part of this legacy was a testament to his skill and dedication. But O'Shæ's artistry wasn't confined to the formal stage. For him, dance was a tool for communication, a form of activism, and a fundamental part of his existence. He was deeply embedded in the ballroom scene, a vibrant subculture created by Black and Latinx LGBTQ+ people as a sanctuary for self-expression and chosen family. In the ballroom, voguing is more than a dance style. It's a narrative of survival, a celebration of identity, and a form of protest. When O'Shæ vogued at that gas station, he was carrying on this legacy of joyful defiance. Tragically, for this beautiful act of self-expression, he paid the ultimate price. O'Shæ's murder did not happen in a vacuum. It is a stark and painful symptom of a larger illness in our society. In recent years, the United States has seen a terrifying surge in anti-LGBTQ+ rhetoric and violence. According to the FBI, hate crimes based on sexual orientation and gender identity are on the rise. In 2022 alone, there was a nearly 14% increase in reported anti-LGBTQ hate crimes. These are not just numbers, they are lives, families, and communities torn apart by hate. Black, transgender, and queer people are disproportionately the targets of this violence, facing the compounded dangers of racism, homophobia, and transphobia. O'Shæ's story is a tragic reminder that for many in the LGBTQ+ community, everyday acts like dancing at a gas station, holding a partner's hand, or simply existing in public can be fraught with peril. This climate of fear is fueled by divisive political language and discriminatory legislation aimed at rolling back hard-won rights. When leaders demonize a community, it emboldens those who would do them harm. In the devastating aftermath of O'Shæ's death, the LGBTQ+ ballroom scene, a community forged in the fires of adversity, did what it has always done. It transformed grief into resistance. They refused to let hate have the last word. They organized, they mourned, and they danced. Memorial balls were held in his honor. Dancers gathered at the very gas station where he was killed, and in an act of profound courage, they vogued. They reclaimed the space, filling it with the same joy and pride that O'Shæ had embodied. They sent a clear message: we will not be intimidated, we will not hide, we will continue to dance. The wave of love and support for O'Shæ extended far beyond his immediate community. Tributes poured in from around the world. Artists, activists, and politicians condemned the senseless act of violence. One of the most powerful tributes came from the artist whose music was the backdrop to O'Shæ's final moments. Beyoncé, whose album Renaissance is a tribute to queer culture, dedicated a part of her official homepage to him. Against a simple black background, white text read, "Rest in power, O'Shæ Sibley." It was a quiet but immense gesture of solidarity, a global icon acknowledging one of her own and amplifying his name for the world to see and remember. This episode of Dark Rainbows, True Crime in the Community, is dedicated to honoring O'Shæ's vibrant legacy, a legacy of art, joy, and unapologetic authenticity, but it is also a solemn demand that we confront the hatred that took his life. His story is a heartbreaking testament to how dangerous it can still be to live as our full, authentic selves in a world that is still learning, often too slowly, to accept us. We must remember O'Shæ Sibley not just for how he died but for how he lived, with a spirit so bright it could not be contained. His memory calls on us to be braver, to speak louder against injustice, and to work tirelessly to build a world where everyone is safe to dance. The fight for justice and equality continues. O'Shæ's story is one of far too many. If you have been affected by the issues in this story, or if you are a member of the LGBTQ+ community in need of support, please know that you are not alone. Resources are available. Watch and remember, 3 stories of LGBTQ+ lives ended too soon. New episode drops every Monday at 3 p.m. EST. Subscribe to keep forgotten voices alive. By sharing these stories, we honor the victims and work towards a future free from hate. Thank you for watching.